Hello everybody, welcome to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. My name is Samantha Genser. I'm going to be your show host for you guys today. We have a very exciting episode for you guys. We're going to be covering the drama around Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, MMA chaos in Romania, and Kayla Harrison claiming to become the GOAT, the most outstanding players in past softball World Series, those that are invited to the Olympic gymnastics trials, and make sure you stay till the end to hear about the PWHL draft. Before we begin, I wanted to ask you guys to like and follow the show and to become a part of our show to tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. We also do get a lot of questions that come in from viewers during the show, so to make sure that your comments and questions get read on the air, I ask that you use the link gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I see them, and of course it really does help the show, and we really do appreciate it. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Now, let's get started. I hope you guys enjoy today's content. Okay, so today we're going to be starting with a segment that I am very excited to talk about, Reese challenging focus on Clark amidst their rivalry. So, we're just going to get right into it. With Caitlin Clark helping increase interest in women's basketball and having a lot of high-scoring games, there has been a lot of drama surrounding Clark. During Monday's show, we talked about the game Chicago Sky v. Indiana Fever, where Clark got fouled by Chennedy Carter, and then Angel Reese stood up and applauded for the foul. This was a complete cheap shot by Carter, and it was very obvious not a basketball play and instead seemed to be more personal. But this isn't the first time that Angel Reese has shown some issues with Clark, and I mean by that she stood up and started applauding the cheap shot. So this is not the first time that we've seen there's been issues between the two of them. Reese has said multiple times that Clark cannot be solely credited for the interest in women's basketball, and I agree with that. A lot of new rookies and veterans have helped the interest increase, but Clark has done a lot since she has signed many deals and made her name known when she played for Iowa. Just for a little background information, Clark and Reese have always been rivals, and that has pretty much continued throughout the beginning of the WNBA season. Reese played for LSU while Clark played for University of Iowa, and they had many regular season matchups and tournament showdowns. The games between LSU and Iowa last year got a lot of attention for the rivalry, and the games were particularly intense with national media coverage and heightened fan interest, putting additional spotlight on their performances. They also have had issues on the court where there was a controversy that Reese was basically trash talking to Clark and the court, and then Reese got a lot of backlash for it. Trash talking has always been a thing. It's not that big of a deal. It just has always been a thing in sports, but it does show their rivalry when they are playing against one another. I don't think it was fair that Reese got backlash for it, obviously, but that's a whole nother issue. Clark and Reese have both said that their rivalry basically only exists on the court, and off the court they are friendly with one another. Their tension just exists because of both their passion for the sport and commitment to their teams. So, Clark has really done wonders for the interest in women's basketball and in women's sports in general, and many consider this the Caitlin Clark effect, and this effect has really made a difference in the sport for the future. Clark's massive popularity has attracted lucrative sponsorship deals for her and even an appearance on an episode of Saturday Night Live. An indicator of Clark's effect on interest in women's basketball can be gauged by TV ratings. For the first time ever, the NCAA's March Madness Championship game between Clark's Iowa and South Carolina drew a larger audience than the men's final game. But a few weeks later, when Clark was chosen to the WNBA draft by the Indiana Fever, the gap between the $78,000 she will earn and what a top NBA pick, at the time was Victor Wembanyama, would garner, which was $10.5 million, was more than shocking and was quite incredible. But here's something to note. Many of the top WNBA players are black women and women of color, which contributes to the inequality they face in media attention and pay. The fact that Caitlin Clark, who is white, is one of the top paid WNBA players has gained the attention of more than a few veteran players. Besides playing for her home state at the University of Iowa and then signing for Indiana, it is pretty normal to wonder if Clark's race is part of her enormous popularity at this moment. Then again, I will say that Clark's story captures the way this decade has been culturally and socially since her ascent to stardom, speaks to how fans are increasingly willing to pay to watch women's sports for their own value, which was a concept that was overlooked by many people. So because of this increase in interest and huge attention focused on Clark, Angel Reese reasonably feels she deserves some more respect on her name. After the game on Saturday, Reese said that she would always be considered the bad guy and that she's okay with it because it is helping increase the interest in the WNBA because of that rivalry and the drama, the tension, all of that. Still, Reese wants people to understand that the popularity surge in the WNBA is not only solely because of Clark. Reese said, "It's not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want you to realize that it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game. There are so many great players in the league that have deserved this for a really, really long time now, and luckily it's coming now." Reese also mentioned that women's basketball truly began getting more attention after LSU's national championship game victory over Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Reese said, "It all started from the national championship game. I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. Yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because local women's basketball is, people are talking about women's basketball that you never would think would be. People are pulling up the games. We have celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas." These comments sparked the latest WNBA controversy as many feel strongly about what Reese said. During a segment of Speak on FS1, show host Joy Taylor said Reese is correct, adding that nobody was talking about Caitlin Clark until that game. Taylor said specifically, "She's not wrong. How did we get here? What she just said, the national championship game. We were not talking about Caitlin Clark before Angel Reese walked up to her, did this you can't see me gesture, and pointed to the ring. This is not my opinion. I lived it. I watched it. It was recorded. It was broadcasted live. We were not talking about Caitlin Clark before that moment." As a rebuttal to this assertion from Taylor, many have resurfaced comments from NBA stars like LeBron James and Kevin Durant, who have been talking about Clark for several years. While Taylor may not have been talking about Clark until that LSU v. Ohio game, Iowa, I just said Ohio, LSU v. Iowa game, many in the basketball world were talking about Clark. Now, let me put my opinion out here. When answering the question, should Angel Reese deserve credit, I say yes, absolutely. She absolutely deserves credit for her contributions to the popularity and visibility of women's basketball. Her impact on the court, especially during high-profile games like the national championship, has been significant. Reese's ability to perform under pressure and her charismatic presence have drawn attention to the sport, helping to attract fans and media coverage. However, it's important to recognize that the growing interest in women's basketball is the result of efforts from many individuals, not just one or two stars. I think some veteran players have done wonders for increasing interest, like Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Asia Wilson. They have been long ambassadors of the sport, pushing its boundaries and advocating for better pay and media coverage. Also, when you look at things that are just things that are on the news, like Brittany Griner and that whole legal situation, that was getting attention for the legal scenario there, but it was also pushing attention for WNBA increase because she's mainly known for being in the WNBA. But all of those continued excellence and leadership has been instrumental in building the WNBA's profile. Also, if you aren't a big follower of the WNBA, there's a big chance that you have heard those three names before and Brittany Griner's names. They're very well known, and with that, they have helped gain popularity for the WNBA. Also, I think other stars that aren't really considered veterans, like Arike Angambawale and Sabrina Ionescu, have helped bring more attention. They have the fresh energy and big media image that have helped bring that popularity. And while Angel Reese's contribution is undeniable and important, the collective efforts of many players, coaches, and stakeholders across the sports industry have all played pivotal roles in raising the profile and popularity of women's basketball. Each of these contributions enhances the sport, making it richer and more vibrant. Now, when talking about if there is racism involved in how Clark receives more media attention, I think there is some. The media often reflects societal biases, potentially privileging white athletes like Clark in terms of visibility and marketing opportunities. This phenomenon is not unique to basketball, but is evident across various sports and entertainment industries. Within the underrepresented categories of women's sports, Black women frequently face even greater disparities in visibility, exacerbated by systematic issues within sports media that prioritize narratives based on perceived marketability, often intertwined with race. However, it's also important to acknowledge Caitlin Clark's significant achievements, such as leading the nation in scoring and assists, which naturally did attract attention. Addressing the disparity and attention requires understanding how systematic racism influences which achievements are highlighted. These efforts are crucial for ensuring that all athletes, regardless of background, receive fair coverage and opportunities, thus fostering a more inclusive sports culture. While it may not be explicitly racist that Clark receives more attention, this disparity is indicative of broader racial inequalities that need to be addressed in sports media and beyond. Someone just commented, people tend to explode over the smallest thing, and it's ruining the WNBA's growth. Even in NBA history, when Larry Bird came into the league, which was predominantly African American, people were also upset about how he got attention over other players in the league because of his ethnicity. I do see that some of this drama I see both ways that this is helping and not helping. A lot of people who are more interested in seeing women's basketball for the basketball are obviously more upset that this is happening because it does distract from the fact that we're here to watch basketball. But then, of course, people who are not more interested in the sport and like to see drama unfold and see the systematic issues in society are interested in seeing this because of all of that is happening. So I kind of do see both sides here. But yeah, there does seem to be some small things that do be taken out of context, especially in things that have small issues that are just turned into bigger issues. But yeah, I think Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese both deserve credit for their contributions in increasing women's sports, but also it's a lot of other people, and there is a lot that goes into it. I could literally spend an hour talking about this because there is so much depth in this topic, but we are now going to move on to the next segment where we're going to talk about the MMA chaos in Romania and Kayla Harrison claiming to become the GOAT, the GOAT. Before we get into that, we are going to take a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.